everybody, Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I have a very interesting one. I believe interesting is the best adjective to describe it, but I mean, it's a bit of an older deck. It goes back to Furious Fists, and I don't think there's really anything new from the other sets that have been added, but basically it is an Energyless deck, and that's right, 0 energy in the entire deck. And I will really quickly get into how we are going to combat that. But just a reminder, if you found this video helpful or enjoyed it at all, please leave a like, maybe subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps us out. And yeah, now on to the deck. So, like I said, we are running 0 energy in the entire deck. And so this deck will be focused around the Politoed with the King Song ability. Ignore all colorless energy in the attack cost of each of your Poliwag, Poliwhirl, and Poliwrath's attacks. Now, Politoed we will obviously never be attacking with because, guess what? It requires a water energy, and we would actually have to attach energy in order to be able to attack. So we're going to be focusing on the Poliwag line with 4 of the Poliwags with the Spiral Current. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused and they can't retreat, so that's pretty nice. Makes them flip a coin if they want to attack, or even is just great for a stall tactic. We are running 4 Poliwhirl with 80 HP and the Finishing Blow attack. 50 plus if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it. This attack does 50 more damage, so you basically hit for 100 if they have damage on them previously, which is where the Bats come into play. We are running a 2-2-1 line of Bats. Really, because we don't need them to rack up that much damage, we just need to have them put damage counters on the opponent for the Poliwhirl, so that's why the Bats are in the deck. And then we are running 3 Poliwrath and 3 Politoed. Poliwrath has the Steamroll attack. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and hits for 60. So if you slap a Muscle Band on it, it does 80, and yeah, you can snipe the bench for a little bit of damage. But as you can see, we are running more Poliwraths and Politoads than we have Poliwags and Poliwhirls, so that's where we're going to run Archies, but I'll get to that as I go through the entire deck. As for the Pokemon, I talked about all of them except for the one Shaman that we were running with the setup ability. We were just running one because we don't want to clog up the bench, because we kind of want to have Zubats and Poly line on there 90% of the time. Actually, there's only really one spot you want to dedicate to a Shaman at most, so that's why there's only one Shaman there. We are running 2 Acrobike just to mill through our deck a little bit, because this deck is really centered around Archies a lot. Like, that's the supporter you're going to want to be using more often than not to try to get a Politoed out. But so you want to be able to mill through it, which is where the Acrobike comes in. And also getting stuff into your discard pile, that's where the Battle Compressor comes in. You'll more than likely be Battle Compressoring a Politoed, an Archies, and then probably something else, just, you know, to get in discard pile in case you don't need it. So we're running 2 of those, 3 Dive Ball because we are running a lot of water Pokemon and you don't necessarily want to discard a lot of stuff. I mean, we don't really have a lot of stuff that's discard fodder, so Ultra Ball is a little too costly at times. That's why we're running Dive Ball. 1 Enhanced Hammer just to try to slow down our opponent. This deck does take a little while to get going. Like, it usually can't attack until turn 3 unless you have like 2 sets of rare candies and Poliwrath, Politoed. So we're going to want to slow down our opponent a little bit. That's where the Enhanced Hammer comes in. Running 1 Level Ball to get out, like, whether it's a Politoed, or not Politoed, Poliwhirl, Poliwag, or one of the early Bat lines. So that's 1 Level Ball for that. 2 Rare Candy to get the Poliwag immediately into a Politoed or Poliwrath. You never want to use it on the Bats just because the Golbat gets damage in itself, so you only want to use the Rare Candy on the Poly line. 1 Sacred Ash, usually I run a Super Rod in that spot, except guess what? We don't need to get back any energy this time, so that is why Sacred Ash is there, because sometimes you'll have to discard the stuff, and you know what? It even gets knocked out too, so you want to put it back in your deck. That's why Sacred Ash. 1 Super Scoop Up for the Bat line and the Shaman. You only want to run 1, so I mean, it's really just kind of a 50-50 whether or not that card's useful at all. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes you get Tails and you're like, oh, well, that was just a wasted card in the deck. 2 switches. We don't run any energy, like I said, so we can't pay retreat costs. If Politoed does get Lysandered into the active, we need to rely on a switch to get it out of there. And I mean, that's one of the drawbacks of this deck. I mean, this deck is not competitive but it really is fun to beat an opponent when you've run absolutely zero energy at all. And as we are on the topic of milling through our deck, we are running 2 Trainer's Mail, just because we want to be able to look for stuff, maybe find a rare candy, find a dive ball, something like that. Just look at the top 4 cards, and then pick one that we want. Ultra Ball, 2 Ultra Ball, just, I mean, in case we need to get out a Shaman, or just, like, we need to Ultra Ball for a Poliwrath, Politoed, all of that stuff. I mean, it's just nice tech to have in case you need to get a guaranteed Pokemon out. 4 VS Seeker, because you do want to run a full line of supporters for this deck, because again, there's no energy, so you got to fill it up with something. I decided to fill it up with some porters and some stupid items that you normally don't run in a deck, like the disruption items. We're running 2 Archie's Ace in the Hole to get our Politoads out of the discard pile. Like, that was a really nice way of immediately throwing them back onto the field once they're in the discard pile, so Archie's is great for that. Running 2 Lysander just to hopefully disrupt our opponent and occasionally get some knockouts with different attacks that we have. 3/3 of Birch Sycamore, so I mean, that's just plain draw support. 1 Skyline in case you need a rare candy or something like that. And Dimension Valley. Now, I know this is basically a water deck, but on the theme of Energyless, I'm running a Dimension Valley, so that way our bats can attack if we even need that. So, I mean, that's why that's there. And then 2 Rough Seas to heal damage off of our water Pokemon. Poliwrath is actually pretty bulky at 140 HP, so that's really helpful because our opponent normally can't knock it out in one hit. 3 Muscle Band just because you want to hit for more damage, and 1 Head Ringer just on the topic of stalling out our opponent. So I know this is a little bit longer of a deck list, but I mean, there's a ton of cards and energy. You can't really just... And you have to explain each of these cards' energy. You can just say, yeah, I added energy. So yeah, let's just go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Lord Leo? I don't know how to say that. But he's running a fire deck, so I mean, this is good for us if we can even get the coin flip we do, so we get to go first and we get to evolve first. That is great for us. So, alright, there's our turn. Let's see what we get. We get nothing. Alright, so we got a mulligan. I don't know what the... I'm really unsure what the best Pokemon to start off with in this deck is. I mean, like, my gut tells me that it's Poliwag, but I mean, then you want to evolve it, and I don't know, it's weird. So we do get a Poliwag and a Zubat, so that's okay, I guess. I will have to discard 1 Rough Seas and a Poliwrath and a Switch, so that's not really something that I want to have to get rid of, but you know what? If we have to go with it, then we have to go with it. We even have to get rid of a Politoed, so that's a bit unfortunate. If we can get Archie's going, then that will be really nice. What I can do is go ahead and Dive Ball, grab another Poliwag, go ahead and play that down. Let's Acrobike, see if I can get a... you know what, I'll just go ahead and grab the Poliwhirl, because, I mean, it doesn't look like we're going to be having to play too many of those, and I'm just going to Ultra Ball away the Professor Sycamore and the Super Scoop. You know what, I'll get rid of the Enhanced Hammer too. I mean, I don't think we'll be needing the Disruption too much to get out another Poliwag, just because, I mean, you want to have as many of these out as possible. Let's go ahead and play the Shaman down. We get a Battle Compressor, we get 2 of them, so that's decent, I guess. Let's go ahead and get rid of... Let's get rid of an Archie's, let's get rid of a Birch, and I think that's all we're going to want to get rid of. And it looks like our other Archie's is... Oh, no, there it is. Thought it was prized. It's not prized. So, there we go. Let's just go for the Super Scoop up again, see what we can get. We do get a Heads, that's pretty nice. Let's just play that, so let's not get rid of anything. I just want to draw with Shaman. There we go. And we even get a rare candy, and... So, yeah. Alright, so that's going to be it for our turn. I'm going to evolve the Poliwhirl next turn, and unfortunately I loaded up the bench, so I can't really play the Archies. That was a little bit of an oversight on my part, but, I mean, that's... What are you going to do? I'm hoping that a Litleo will get knocked out at some point. I do still have my Sacred Ash that I can put the Pokemon back in my deck, so what I am probably just going to do is go ahead and play the Poliwhirl onto probably the benched Poliwag, just because, I mean, this one is probably going to get knocked out by something. I mean, really, I just need the Poliwag to take a couple hits for me, so that way I can just be able to build up a Politoed on the bench and then get something else out. And also, against a water deck, you only really need like one thing. You don't need you don't need a full Poliwrath. All you need is a Poliwhirl to be able to knock out a Pyroar. Even like with a little bit of damage, I think you need it. But it looks like, wow, my opponent, if he has an energy attachment, nope, he's just going to go for the Blacksmith this turn. We do see a Darkness Energy, so he will not be able to hit for a Combustion for 60, so that's nice, I suppose. We do see a Professor Birch's Observations, so I think I'm going to have to go for that this turn. Let's evolve the Poliwhirl, go for the Birch's Observations, we get Tails, that's a bit unfortunate. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to end my turn right there. What I can do next turn is Skyla for a Dive Ball, and then for a Politoed, and then Rare Candy up the Poliwag. It really depends on what I'm able to get this turn. My opponent will be able to knock me out. If I can get a Muscle Band this turn, that'd be phenomenal. But I really do need to get a Politoed up in the back. And he's even going to Lysander in my Poliwhirl, so this is not good. He's going to be able to knock me out this turn, or not. That works too, so let's go ahead and Skyla for let's grab a Dive Ball. Yes, please. Let's go ahead and play that down, grab a Politoed, and then Rare Candy this up. Alrighty, I might be able to, and then let's just play Sacred Ash, get both of these back into our deck, and then, alright, I am just going to go ahead and Finishing Blow, get some damage. That way, if I get a Golbat next turn, I will be able to knock this Pyroar out. And yeah, we're actually in an okay position. What I am probably going to do is Dimension Valley to play my hand down a little bit. He will be able to knock out this Poliwhirl if he gets an energy drop, which, oh, he might not, because he got Tails, and that would be really phenomenal. Nope, he got it. Okay, never mind. I am a filthy, filthy liar. But on the bright side, we will actually be able to kill with a Zubat if we need to. And he is just going to be able to knock us out. Unfortunately, he didn't have to discard his energy, so that's kind of a bummer right there. But, I mean, what are you going to do? So let's just go ahead and play the Zubat right there. Let's go ahead and play the Dimension Valley, and then let's go for... You know what? I'm going to go for a... I'm going to go for a Skyla so I can get... Actually, you know what? No, I need to go for a Professor Sycamore instead of a Skyla. I wanted to go for the Skyla, but to get a Dive Ball for a Poliwrath, but unfortunately we are not able to do that. What we are able to do, actually, is go ahead and evolve this. We're actually going to be able to win this match right here because I will be able to knock out this Pyroar, and then I will be able to take one prize, and then I will be able to level ball for my other Golbat. Actually, I win regardless, so... Oh, we could just get another Poliwhirl. So, don't get to kill it with the Golbat, but what we do get to do is retreat into this Poliwhirl, attach the Muscle Band to it, and go for a Finishing Blow, and we just defeated a Power deck. Granted, we had the type advantage, but you know what? If you win with an Energyless deck, I still count it as a win. Alright, we even get a little bit of the daily challenge done, which is why I'm using this deck, sorry. But, yeah, I mean, that was actually kind of cool. We were able to get a turn 2 Politoed and then just start killing stuff with Poliwhirl, so, I mean, that's that's how this deck is supposed to work, and I'm going to see if I can find one more battle with this deck. Okay, we have found one against Sipes 1946, and even though TCGO says we have the advantage, if they knew what deck we were running, they would not be saying that. We get the coin flip and we lose it, so we don't even get to evolve first. This is very bad. Oh boy, this is not good. Uh-oh. So they're more than likely going to go for, or going to let us go first. That's okay. How gracious of them, even though we mulligan. So, I mean, they probably, I don't know. We do only run 7 basic Pokemon in the deck, so that's a bit unfortunate. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I like that. I like that. And we're going to mulligan again. Alrighty. I mean, if it allows us to get a turn 1, and mulligan 3 times. Sweet. Not like I run 4 Poliwag. There's 1. Okay, so we're going to throw that there. My opponent's going to be able to draw 3 extra cards. Oh boy. That's not what we want to see. Depends on what the deck is, though. Alright, my opponent is selecting another starting Pokemon. Probably drew another basic Pokemon off of that. Alright, so what we're going to go ahead and do is Dive Ball to grab another Poliwag. Play that down. Let's just go ahead and Level Ball for a... You know what? I kind of want a Zubat. Let's go ahead and play that there. Let's go for this. I'm going to play the Muscle Band onto the Poliwag that's in the active spot, and then I'm going to Birch's Observations. Hopefully you get heads, no we get tails. But what I do get is something that I can work with. I can Ultra Ball, get rid of the Switch and the... I think that was a Golbat. Grab a Shaman, get 6 new cards, and let's see what we can work with. And we can definitely work with this, actually, I think. So let's go ahead and grab a Sycamore, and I think we are... Okay, so I'm going to play the Rough Seas, just in case, and we're going to go from there. Alright, we have a pretty solid start, ish, I hope, depending on what we draw. If I can draw a Rare Candy Politoed off of the Sycamore, that will be phenomenal. And we do see a Mewtwo, so that's a problem with this deck, is that, well, he counters our stadium. That this deck is not competitive, so if you're against actually competitive decks, you know what, you're just gonna get smacked. So we're gonna put up a valiant effort and see what we can do. Ooh, even as a secret rare Ultra Ball, that's really neat. I mean, that means you must have been playing you must have been playing back in black and white, because I believe that's from the Plasma Freeze, and I mean, that there's no two ways about it. Like, that's really cool. Ooh, my opponent has secret rare everything. Let's see how many secret rares he has so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he has 5 with the Mewtwo. And then he even has a Full Art Shaman. I count that as a secret rare because that is such a rare and valuable card. Up 6. And let's see, did he discard another one? Up, he discarded a Full Art Mega Mewtwo. Why? Oh my goodness, we're just... Guys, this is not going well. I kind of would like to play a song that was like the trumpet song when you're in the army and and like a ship goes down or something like that. So I mean, that's what I'm gonna go for right now. It's been an honor serving with you, and yeah, we're going down, but you know what, we're gonna go down fighting. Get rid of the stadium, go for a Sycamore, maybe get something that we can work with, and we get 2 Politoed, so that's something that's nice, I guess. Let's slap this down here. Let's go ahead and play the Crobat right there, and then get some damage off on the Mewtwo. That way we can hit for 100 instead of just losing. You know what? What all do I have in my discard pile? I think I'll wait. I will wait until next turn. What I'm probably going to do is leave the Poliwhirl active, evolve the Poliwhirl on the bench into a Politoed. That way I can actually get a knockout on the Spritzy, so that's pretty cool. My opponent will be able to Geomancy, and so I mean, once he gets going, there's nothing we can do about it at all, because we're just gonna get destroyed. So there's that. But I mean, I'm just gonna try to hit as many things as possible as early as possible. My opponent will be able to Geomancy. He just retreats, so that's interesting. I don't know. Oh, I guess he didn't have a Fairy Garden. So that's why. Oh, he even has a Heart Gold Soul Silver energy. I always think those are really cool. I mean, it might just be the retro effect, but I think that those energy just look pretty awesome. If my opponent somehow cannot knock us out this turn, I will be able to... Actually, I don't think there's a way my opponent can knock us out, because he'll be able... Even if he does Mega Evolve, he'll only be able to hit for 70, because he already had his energy attachment for the turn in the Aromatisse. And let's see, does he have any more full arts that we can see? Yep, we see a full art. What do we see? We see a full art Pokemon Center Lady and a full art Hoopa. So, alright. So let's just go ahead and evolve into the Politoed. Let's just go ahead and heal the damage off. I'm going to go ahead and Skyla for a... What do I want to Skyla for? I'm probably going to Skyla for an Ultra Ball. Yeah. Go ahead and Skyla for an Ultra Ball. Get rid of this and... Get rid of this and this. Grab a Poliwhirl, put on the bench. Probably should have played the Sacred Ash first, because now I'll have to get back the Politoed. But you know what? I'll be able to hit the Mewtwo for a good amount of damage for 90 damage. Oh, wow. But, alright. So unless he has a Mewtwo Spirit Link and a Mega Mewtwo, then we will actually be able to knock this guy out next turn with the finishing blow. Actually, even if he has a Mega Mewtwo, we'll be able to knock it out, because we have, what do we have? Oh, right, we have a Poliwhirl on the bench that can use Finishing Blow. Now, unless he Lysanders me out, then there's nothing I can do about that. But we're just rolling with it at this point. If he Lysanders out my Politoed, then I will just kind of cry. Alright, he does put the energy onto this Mewtwo. If he has a Mewtwo Spirit Link and the Mega Mewtwo, he'll be able to knock us out. Or he just retreats into the Xerneas, probably trying to power up another Mewtwo somewhere. Okay, so he does just retreat to evolve, and there is nothing wrong with that. What I am going to go ahead and do is VS Seeker for a Sycamore, if I have one. Yes, I do. Actually, you know what? Let's be cheeky. Let's be really cheeky. VS Seeker for a Lysander. And then let's kill off that Mega Mewtwo with a frickin' Poliwhirl. Yes, we are so cool right now. Oh, that was awesome, actually. That was actually really cool. I was able to knock out a Mega Mewtwo with a Poliwhirl. That's amazing. Oh, why is this deck working? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, if he knocks us out, then guess what? We'll have an Archie's target. Unfortunately, I should have played the Sacred Ash. And oh my goodness, we won! How did we win? I don't understand how we just won. That was really awesome. We beat a Mega Mewtwo Y deck with Fairy Acceleration with a Energyless Politoed deck. That was beautiful. I don't know how that happened. I don't know why it happened, but I'm rolling with it. I'm ending that there. There is no way we are going to be able to top that match we just had. And thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.